Alright everyone, what is going on? BusterBarnes here, bringing you my review slash recap of Chelsea's 2-0 win at home against Burnley. A very dominant display in Tuchel's first win of the season in charge of the Blues, and I will be going through all of the key moments in the game, as well as giving you guys my player ratings and player of the season point scoring system as well. So if you do enjoy these reviews, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts on the game, your player ratings as well, and as always do subscribe for more Chelsea FC content. But getting into the game, we did see the return of the 3-4-3 formation like against Wolves. That 0-0, maybe slightly disappointing draw, but did have some positives which we could definitely have carried on through to this Burnley game. Two sort of similar-ish teams, Wolves and Burnley, both liking to sit back, especially away from home, and try and soak up the pressure. So maybe this sort of formation gave a bit more of an attacking vibe with the wing-backs. We did see the same back three. We did see pretty much the same midfield four, apart from Ben Chilwell was out for the returning Marcos Alonso. And I think when we all saw Marcos Alonso in the starting lineup, we all knew what was going to happen. But the front three was changed up as well. We saw Werner, Abraham and Mason Mount. Mount and Werner, obviously the two more inside forwards. We later saw some appearances from Pulisic, James and Havertz as well, but we will all get onto that as the game did carry on. But when it started, it was clear that we were in control of the match. A lot of times we broke past Burnley's defence, a lot of times we would hit low crosses in, a lot of times where we would get the ball on the edge of the area with someone like Jorginho actually being a bit more creative than maybe we're used to Jorginho being, hitting some balls over the top. And there was a few frustrating moments in the sense of finishing. Mount had a few skewed shots. I think Tuchel said after the game that maybe the pitch wasn't in the best condition, which is a very weird one, I suppose. Don't know if that's to do with the weather or the Chelsea groundsman. I don't really know. That's a bit of a weird one for me. But yeah, there definitely were some shots going a bit wide. Burnley didn't really have any chances in the first half at all. Alonso had a header which he just put wide, and also Werner. The ball got crossed in, a perfect cross from Hudson-Odoi, and then Werner just misses it, and it just goes to show his lack of form at the moment. And it doesn't just change like that with a new manager. It's definitely a mental thing, and he needs to get past it. But one thing you can say about Werner is he's always lively, he's always getting involved, and he's always getting in good positions. So at least that is something to keep mind of. It's not as if he's just playing completely terribly, but we did have some big control in the match. The back line really had nothing to do defensively. We did see Hudson-Odoi pretty much tearing it up. There was a great quote found after the game where Sean Dyche told Robbie Brady to tune in, and Brady said, "I know where he effing is. I can't stop him. What do you want me to do?" And that was pretty much just how the entire game went. Callum Hudson-Odoi causing absolute terror. Alonso making a nuisance of himself in the box. We all know what we're getting from him at left wing back. Luckily, we didn't have to see too much of a defensive phase from us, which I definitely think helped us out a lot, as we did have the bulk of possession and did control the game. A lot more impressed with Kovacic and Jorginho than I was in the last game. Even though last game, they kept the ball well, we didn't really see anything progressive from them, whereas that definitely changed in this game. I think, however, you can say the first half was definitely ran by Callum Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount down that right-hand side, getting tackles, dribbles up the pitch, and they were both just causing an absolute terror for the Burnley defence. And our first goal did actually come at the end of the second half. A nice little Chelsea counter-attack. Jorginho offloads the ball to Mount. Mount running through, offloads the ball to Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi takes on his man. Nice little left-footed pass to the right. And Azpilicueta runs on, first time hit into the roof of the net. Maybe Pope could have done a little bit better, but just the force and power hits the roof of the net. You can't really complain about a goal like that. And it is El Capitan who gets us a bit out of our goal drought. We found it hard to score goals lately, especially in the Premier League, obviously, and it would be the captain that is the one that sort of breaks that drought, and we definitely deserve to be winning into the second half, so it was very, very nice to see. Maybe could have had one or two more, but like I said, with this sort of goal drought, the team is sort of struggling, and you can see the desperation for us to score a goal before that Azpilicueta goal was in fact scored. But going into half-time, it was 1-0, and a very good display, and we obviously all wanted to kill the game. We know how Chelsea can be. All it could take was one or two chances from Burnley to equalise, so we were definitely desperate for that second goal. We did see at half-time Tammy Abraham get taken off for Christian Pulisic, meaning that Pulisic was on the left and Werner moved into the middle. Maybe a bit harsh on Tammy if it wasn't because of an injury. I don't think he necessarily performed great in the first half, but I probably would have given them the chance to improve that. I think our overall play improved quite a lot in the second half, so maybe a bit of a shame for him. Hopefully we do see him start another game soon, because it was just unfortunately not a great performance. I wouldn't say Werner did much better in the second half. He's maybe a bit more lively, but yet again, he sort of missed the ball a few times, sort of put the ball out of other players' way. It wasn't great from him, but like I said, he's always getting involved. You can't really slander him, and hopefully under Tuchel, it won't be long before we see Werner get a goal. He's actually put the ball in the net twice against Spurs. He actually did it obviously in the cup when he scored, and scored a goal that was just barely offside against them in that 0-0 draw. So maybe against Tottenham is where we see Timo Werner's form rise again. We can all keep our fingers crossed for that. But we also saw Reece James and Kai Havertz come on later in the game as well. Didn't really have too much time to add loads. I thought Reece James was impressive. He came on for Hudson-Odoi. I think Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount probably being rested for that game against Tottenham after two amazing displays. Probably our two best overall players in terms of the overall play on the pitch. But I do have to talk about our second goal. Pulisic down the wing, chips it over the top to Alonso, on his chest, on his knee, volleys it with his left foot into the roof of the net. An absolutely amazing goal, and we all knew that was going to happen. It's what Alonso loves to do. You can rag on his defensive ability all you want, and I do think there'll be times when he definitely shouldn't be playing for us, when we face those teams who have more possession, who will probably attack more. I mean, we haven't really had to defend at all against Wolves and Burnley, at least in the back line, so there'll still be, I guess, the critics out on that one. But yeah, a great goal from Alonso. It's what he loves to do. He's very good at attacking at that left wing back role. And if we are going to go for this formation and occasionally use it, I don't think we'll be using this 3-4-3 every single game. We all know Tuchel likes to change up his tactics dependent on the players he has available and the opposition. But I do think that probably with the opposition we've got coming up, we will see this formation at least a few more times. Tottenham, unless Mourinho changes up tactics, we all know like to sit deep. We all know that Newcastle and Sheffield will sit deep as well. Maybe we'll see a different formation against Southampton, but yeah, I could see this happening a lot, and Alonso is maybe the perfect player for most of those games, especially when you think against Sheffield and against Newcastle. We probably won't be having to defend that much, so that could definitely fall into his hands. Don't necessarily think it was an overall great performance from him, but you can't complain when he scores a great goal like that one. But that was my thoughts on the game, guys. We also a few other moments. Callum Hudson-Odoi getting a deflected shot, hitting the bar. Reece James with a nice shot that got saved. So yeah, maybe could have scored more on a different day. I think the XG was still around about 2 though, so fair enough. Can't really complain on that. But yeah, a lot of very good performances. Definitely a step up from the Wolves game, and it's good things going into the future games. Obviously Spurs is a massive one. That's going to be really the true test, I think, of how this system is working with some of these players that haven't featured regularly for us throughout the season. But this is definitely on the right track and was definitely a fun watch for us Chelsea fans. Maybe not the Burnley fans. Burnley, I believe, only had one shot the entire game, which came right at the end, and I don't think was even on target. So yeah, that was my thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. But if I do get onto my player ratings, and starting off in goal with Edouard Mendy, going to get a 6.5. As you know, 6 is like the base average rating. Got the clean sheet, which I usually means I bump it up to a 7. However, he really had nothing to do, so I think a 6.5 is fair. He didn't even have a save to make, so he did some good, long throws that reached players, some good long passes, so I'm not saying he was bad, but he kept the clean sheet. That's what we want. I mean, Kepa could have played in goal this game and kept a clean sheet. That just shows how dominant the performance really was. Going into the back three, Antonio Rudiger's going to get a 7, kept the clean sheet, maybe the least noticeable of our centre-backs, but you can't complain, kept the clean sheet. A few sketchy moments I've seen from him in this game and against Wolves. I think the real test for him will be when we come up against a team in which we have to defend against a little bit more. That will be the ultimate test to see if maybe he should be in this team over someone like Kurt Zouma. I still personally think he shouldn't, but you never know, could prove us wrong. A 7 out of 10 from him getting the clean sheet. Thiago Silva going to go a bit higher, 7.5. I think that he was probably the one I noticed the most going back defensively, made some blocks, some key clearances as well, really controlling the back line, and it looked like a threat once or twice from set pieces too. So I think he definitely was a bit of a step up from Rudiger, and did keep the clean sheet. So a 7.5 for him. And from left to right, it's going to go up, which will probably be a theme throughout my ratings in this lineup. Azpilicueta going to get an 8 out of 10. Mainly because of the goal. He scored our first goal, especially in a time where we're finding it really hard to score in the league. It was really needed, a key moment for us, And yeah, Dave gets the goal and gets an 8 out of 10. Good defensively as well. Not too sure how often we're going to see him play, all the time. Obviously, he's getting up there in age, and I don't think we all want to see Reece James just kept out of the team, overall. So hopefully Reece James will be back soon. But I mean, while we're doing this 3 at the back formation, Azpilicueta has definitely been one of the key players in the last 2 games. But now going to the wing backs, going to start on the left again with Alonso, going to get a 7.5. I know he scored a goal like Azpilicueta did, so you'd maybe think he should get an 8, but let's be honest, number one, we all knew what Alonso would do. We all knew that he'd probably have a pretty average display, but score a goal. That is what he did. Before he scored the goal, I was thinking he wasn't really doing that well. You can obviously give him the excuse he has not played in ages, so I'm not trying to slander the guy. Obviously, it's been since that West Brom game that he last played for us, I think, so you really can't, expect him to be amazing in this game. Obviously going to be some rust. But yeah, some of his passes just not really working out. He did lose the ball maybe once or twice as well, but luckily we could just clean it up as Burnley were just going for the long balls. So yeah, and I mean, Tuchel's explanation for why he played Alonso was a very good one. Obviously, he loves that position. I think Tuchel knew he'd be dominating the game mostly as well through possession. And also, Burnley, a big set-piece team. Alonso does have that height over Chilwell to try and compete in the air, which is something that I've always said has been good about Alonso compared to other left-backs, is his height. He can compete in the air, and that is one of the sort of key things about him, hence why he won that header in the first half as well, and did almost score that goal. So, I mean, I'm all for Alonso playing at left wing back role. I don't want to ever see him as just a straight up left back. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to play this role, then I don't see why him and Chilwell can't be the two competing. And maybe that means Emerson will eventually be out the door. I remember a few years ago when we all wanted Emerson to play over Alonso, and Emerson would play really well, but he just doesn't seem to be doing that at the moment, so maybe it's best for him to depart. Alonso kissed the badge after he scored that goal as well, which I think is a nice thing. Part of me thinks it's nice and kind of weird. Obviously, there was the whole report of when he got subbed off against West Brom, he went to the bus and wouldn't watch the game of the team, which is very disrespectful and very awful behaviour. But now he's kissed the badge. It's kind of like, is he trying to make up for it? Maybe he is. I don't know. We should probably just leave that behind us, to be honest. But 7.5 from him. Hudson-Odoi, it was the man of the match, and he's going to get an 8 out of 10 as well. Yeah, just a very good performance from him. Did get the assist. Maybe if he got a goal or something, I would have boosted that up to maybe a 9. Just was crazy. You guys heard my quote about Brady not being able to keep up with him at all. So many good crosses into the box. Could have had some more assists, but obviously some of our players aren't really firing at the moment. And yeah, just causing loads and loads of issues. He's really thrived in this right wing back role and been our man of the match twice under Tuchel. And even if we do go to a 4 at the back, I think he has to be, one of the wingers going forward, or at least one of the forwards, because he's just putting in great performances at the moment. So yeah, amazing display again from Hudson-Odoi, and I'm sure we will see him start the next game against Tottenham Hotspur. Going into the midfield, Kovacic and Jorginho. Going to give Kovacic a 7. I'm going to give Jorginho a 7.5 out of the 2. And if you look at the stats as well, Jorginho did maybe look to be the little bit stronger of the 2. Jorginho creating a lot of chances, had a lot of key passes, actually won a header or 2, and better pass completion, made actually the same amount of dribbles as well. I think Jorginho, a very good performance from him, definitely picking up with the new manager coming in. Again, I think with Kovacic and Jorginho, questions will still be raised whether they're the 2 to be consistently starting for us. Obviously, with Kante coming back, you've got to think that he does displace one of those 2. Which one? I'm not too sure. Maybe Kovacic, because they're more similar. I don't know. But Kovacic still had a good time. This is probably the most forward passes I've ever seen from Kovacic in a match. Honestly, that is probably the case. Not saying they all paid off. I still don't like it when he goes for a shot because he never scores. But, it was a good performance from both of them, and definitely a lot better than the one against Wolves. Maybe that's something they've worked on. Maybe that's something Tuchel has said to them. They need to be a bit more progressive, and that's what they've done. They were doing what they were good at. Jorginho sitting deep, controlling the play. Kovacic, getting out of tight bits of space. Still would probably rather see, Kante in there. Still would probably like to see Mason Mount be given a go in there, because I think Mason Mount's performance, whilst amazing, it did show why maybe he should be in that midfield too. So we will see, but you can't really say the performances from either of them. But I think Jorginho just pipped Kovacic in this game a little bit for me. Going into the front 3, Timo Werner's going to get a 5.5. just, yeah, he missed a few good chances and did lose the ball a few times, so you can't really say it was a good or average performance. I will say he's still looking lively though, and I'm still confident that his form will pick back up after Tuchel. Going to Mason Mount next, 7.5 out of 10. Amazing. I mean, I'm sure we all prefer him in that sort of centre mid role, number 8, which I would still like to see him in eventually, as I do think that he's a bit better at creating from a bit deeper rather than on the edge of the box. He's still good, don't get me wrong. His shots obviously were a bit wayward, but completed a lot of dribbles, won the ball a lot from high up, which is definitely what Tuchel wants, to win the ball high up, and Mason Mount did that so many times. Just the press which he led, amazing. He's got to continue starting for us. He was probably our second best overall performer in the match this game. Obviously he's getting less than Aspie, but that's mainly because Aspie did get the very important goal, which was very, I think, significant for this team so far. Abraham's going to get a 5, got subbed off at half time, didn't really impress in the first half. Maybe it was a bit harsh. I do think if you kept him on in the second half, he would have done a lot better, but obviously that's all in hindsight. I still want to see him start some more games. I still would potentially start him against Spurs, to be honest. I just don't think maybe today was his game. But I mean, in the first half, really, before the Aspie goal, we were all sort of struggling with our shots and attacking play. So I don't think you can hate on him too much. Yeah, 5 though, because he did get subbed off at half time. Going onto the bench quickly, Pulisic's going to get a 6.5. Came on, got an assist. Some decent play from him. He could be a man that starts on the left against Spurs for sure. Reece James and Kai Havertz going to get a 6 out of 10. Reece was very close, I think, to getting the 6.5 because he was very good when he came on. But yeah, just not enough quite time for me to boost that up, and he's going to get a 6. Havertz had a bit less time, so a 6 out of 10 from me to him as well. But those are my player ratings, guys. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. And if we do end this episode with the player of the season point scoring system, a lot of points are actually going to go out. I don't think I'm actually going to give anyone the full 3 points because, again, maybe it's because the whole team's playing well, but no one stuck out as me. As this player is amazing. This player had a 10 out of 10, great performance. Hudson-Odoi was very good. I think if he got another assist, or he got, which he could have got, or got a goal, I think he definitely would have got the 3 points, but I just couldn't put him quite there for this game. There's just a feeling for me that maybe the 3 points should be held off for a different game. But if I go to the players getting 1 point, and that's going to be 4 players, it's going to be Thiago Silva, Marcos Alonso, Jorginho and Mason Mount. I couldn't really distinguish who deserved what. Like I said, I think Mason Mount was the best overall out of all of them. However, I couldn't really say it was like, I couldn't, in different phases, Thiago Silva controlled that back line. Marcos Alonso got the goal. Jorginho, one of his best performances for us in ages. I just think they all deserved a point in this one, if you guys know what I mean. And then the 2 points have to go to Azpilicueta for the first goal, which I said was crucial, and Hudson-Odoi for really just the overall man of the match performance. So as you can see how the points are tallying up. Marcos Alonso actually making it onto the board, which maybe I wouldn't have seen coming a few weeks ago, but we all know what he can bring to the left wing back role anyway. But yeah, those are going to be my points, guys. Let me know who you would have given these points to in the comment section down below. My preview for the Tottenham game will be out before that game does commence, obviously, so do all stay tuned for that. I'm not too sure how much the lineup's going to change, but there's probably a few players that you can maybe vouch for in those front 3 or maybe front 2 roles. I'm sure Mason Mount definitely deserves another start. But let me know how you're feeling about that Tottenham game as well. Let me know how you're feeling about maybe transfer deadline day 2 and how you're thinking that's going. If you think that anything will happen with Chelsea also. Actually, it probably would have ended by when this video comes out. But let me know what you thought of it if anything did happen. And I do hope you guys all have a nice day. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you next time.